welcome to the final episode of 2025. This is the Fixing Football podcast with me, Martyn, and I'm here with Liam O'Meara. It's just us tonight, mate. How are you?
I'm very good, Martyn. Only us on the Christmas shifts, isn't it?
It is, yeah. We've had to pull rank here. Luke obviously can't be here. He is...
He's not well again, isn't he? He's not well again, I read.
Well, you know the rumour is he's facing allegations because of what happened in Wigan on Boxing Day.
Yes.
The, in speech marks, quotation marks, offensive outfit that didn't get him into any of the clubs because Wigan is notorious for the fancy dress on Boxing Day, and he had a choice selection of outfit, should I say.
I don't think I can't see if it's still like this now, Wigan on Boxing Night, 'cause it's been a long time since I've ventured into Wigan on Boxing Night. But it used to be quite incredibly busy. Like, hard to get your head around the level of business. Is it still that way? Died. I don't know. You go out more than me.
Go out is...
Or be out, maybe.
I am out. I don't go out. The tradition is living strong, as far as I can tell. I don't know about the volume of people, if that's still the same as when we were young party goers, clubbers in the discotheque.
I can't imagine it is. I think I heard somewhere that half the clubs in the UK shut last year in like the 12-month period.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
I think we went down from like 1,400 to 700, something like that, across the whole of the UK.
I would imagine that's for the actual big nightclubs, but yeah, I think it's more of a bar scene, and daytime drinking is a lot more popular these days.
I mean, obviously it's a shame in any kind of business is struggling, but I can see why. Like,
yeah,
you know, the amount of money you spend on an hour is outrageous.
It's ridiculous.
Isn't
it? Yeah. I used to dreaded checking in the bank account the day after a night out. Yeah, as soon as Apple Pay came in, I was goosed. That was as soon as you had a night out paying on your phone. I thought this is serious.
And when I was like 18, 19, you spending 50 quid on a night out was bad. If I go out now on a night out, I reckon I spend 50 quid before I've got to the place I'm meaning to go. Like,
and 50 quid getting there.
I know, it's ridiculous.
Anyway, we are a football podcast and we have football stuff to talk about. We have a competition winner to announce.
Of course.
So, for those who are new to the podcast, we have been running a David Beckham signed Real Madrid shirt competition, and that was won. Do you know we had over 800 entries, which was, I thought, really cool.
Yeah.
We had, I think it was 17 different countries.
What, 17?
Yes.
That's, wow.
Australia, Canada, Morocco, the UAE, Wales, even the internet has reached Wales.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's probably not Wales. It's probably on the border somewhere, but maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, Newport.
We're not popular in Wrexham, were we, when we did that episode?
Mixed reviews, let's call it that. But thank you for everyone who joined in and got involved. It was all in aid of helping grow this podcast. And the winner is a man, and he's called David Brunswick from, it was Houston, I think it's Houston or Austin, but in Texas.
Wow.
Dallas, Texas, that's what it was. David Brunswick from Dallas, Texas. Congratulations. Your shirt is already on the way.
How much does that cost in packaging?
It was significant.
Yeah.
I was hoping the entrant from Wales would win, because that wasn't a fun trip to the post office to find that out. But no worries, the chairman of the board will suffer the consequences of putting his own shirt up for auction, and I'll deal with the consequences of that.
I think Luke said he'd cover posters and packaging, didn't he?
No, that would involve some cooperation with podcasting. What's the word? The inner workings of the podcast.
Yeah.
Which he doesn't. So, Anyway,
congratulations to Mr. Brunswick.
Do you know, it sounds English, that name, doesn't it?
Dallas, Texas. I'm hoping he's English.
Yeah,
it's not just some like professional competition enter, because that would fuck me off, to be honest.
If you put hashtag competition, you get a lot of weird accounts trying to
exactly.
jump on.
I mean, if they've won it, fair play, it's open, but also fuck you. But obviously, if you are a genuine person, Mr. Brunswick, who maybe listens to the podcast, then congratulations.
That's the goal. Want people involved who are going to listen. Yeah. But yeah, we're going to, if we can find something else to give away, I've got a load of shit left over from Christmas, so if I can give some of that away,
I've got Bolton memorabilia, but obviously it's not as alluring, I don't think. You know,
we'll do a hashtag competition, get some more people subscribed.
You know, behind me, people can't see me, but obviously you can see it. I've got a signed pendant from our last promotion winning season from League One, Phil Parkinson team there, featuring Gary Medine, Zach Clough before he left, Kesh Anderson before he left, and
Rob Holding on that.
Who, sorry?
Rob Holding.
No, Rob Holding had left quite a bit before them.
No, his value's gone down. But we'll do something else. It was fun to run. Podcast is growing, so thank you everyone involved. And yeah, I'm doing a David Beckham shirt. Liam, what have you been up to over Christmas? This is the last one. It's going to go out New Year's Eve. So
it goes out New Year's Eve. Okay. So what have I done over Christmas? I've watched football, quite a lot of football, Martyn. I obviously spent time with family, so my own family, so my wife's family. Took in some Boxing Day football. Been to the match today. We're recording on Sunday, so I've been watching Bolton today, which we'll talk about football in a moment. And I'm going to be spending New Year's at the in-laws over in Newton-le-Willows. So yeah, you know, seeing family, trying to keep my dieting up, which has been difficult, but been largely good, apart from, I'd say, Christmas and Boxing Day. Even Boxing Day wasn't horrendous. So yeah, it's been all right. What about yours?
Same. A lot of seeing family and a few people who we've not seen for a while. You know, you just make a bit more of an effort over Christmas, don't you, to catch up with people. Yeah, it's been fun. We had a good Christmas present to announce though from our family. The Mrs. Naylor is carrying baby number 2.
Well, congratulations on
Thank you.
Something that we discussed on the way down to the podcast, and I could have been one of those weird Facebook girls that going, "Oh my god, it's finally out! I can talk about this news."
DM me, babe.
Yes, when everyone's questioning why the Zanzibar's not going forward. Yeah, but which our golf tournament that we partake in every year for listeners.
Zanzibar will be going forward. It's just when. It will be at some point next year, but it's usually the thing is it's usually in June. Wife is due in June, so it looks like we're gonna have to move it. Maybe earlier. Date TBC.
Oh, you want to go later? Earlier, taking you into May. That's football weekends. Later, it's a non-Euros / World Cup year. So
yeah,
going
but later also means leaving wife with a toddler and a newborn baby for a whole day while I go and get pissed.
No, look, these are things to be decided, but earlier is playing with fire because I'll have a Wembley day around that time of the year, I imagine. So
why are you going watching? Won't be wonders.
Well, the tough sheet south, as I like to call Wembley these days.
That's fun. Right, let's do... So we've done competition, we've done Christmas, we've done... I saw a funny meme. Speaking about your diet, a funny meme. It's like, I can't wait for Christmas and this period of Christmas to be over when the food starts to get its calories back. Something along them lines.
Honest, it is tough. Like, I've been very good, obviously, in the run-up. We've talked about it quite a bit, not on the podcast, it's more privately. Yeah. Obviously, I didn't want to talk about it too much on the podcast until I had at least some visible results, which I think we're there now. But it has been, like, Christmas Day is an absolute car crash for it. I went into it with every intention of not completely cutting out everything, but, like, not having a bit of chocolate or maybe not having a lager or stuff like that. But you just can't help yourself on Christmas. So I've drawn a line after Boxing Day and I've gone right back into it. And it was like running through a brick wall again that first day after. It was like I was starting the diet all over again. My stomach was like, oh, I want those rich foods back. Like, don't do this to yourself again. We we were happy for a moment or again, but yeah, sort of back in the groove now.
Have you thought about your New Year's resolutions or anything like that? Is that a thing?
Yeah, it's not something I've verbalised, but I do have a target weight in mind, and I think that's
good.
And I want to try and hit it around June time. Was kind of what I had in mind. That was, but that isn't unrealistic. You know, I'm probably a third of my way to my target anyway already after 8 weeks. But it obviously get harder as you go on. You do tend to, with these type of diets, you do tend to have a fast start, and it has been a crash diet. Let's not kid ourselves. Like it's ridiculous how much I've dropped the best part of 2 stone in 8 weeks. So, we'll see how we get on.
You feeling better though?
No, I feel like I'm starving to death every single waking minute of my life.
I don't know if the microphone picked up, but I heard your belly rumbling then.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
if it did pick it up, I'm going to leave it in.
Yeah, this is it. It's talking to me. Like it can hear me talking about it. And it's like, okay, I know you're talking about me. That's what it's saying.
New Year's resolutions. You know what? I also need to start taking care of myself physically. I've embraced the dad bod a bit too much, and I enjoyed doing the cold plunge, which I started last year, and I kept up pretty much for the majority of the year, almost every day up until, October time.
When it got cold off. Outside the plunge as well.
Yeah, it was not just cold, it was just grim to go out. I didn't mind going out in the cold, but yeah, it was just pretty grim. So that will be getting started back up. But I'm thinking about getting on the roads and doing a bit of running. I hate running. I really don't. I've never been a fan, but
no.
I need something. I've got the gym. Maybe I just do a plan, but that is my goal.
Maybe we should paddle like everybody else.
Do paddle,
or pedal, isn't it? I think that's what you do. What you pronounce?
I don't know, but it's one of the leading causes of heart attacks over men in men over 40 or something. Because
I'm not surprised, because if you've not moved for about 20 years, then you start thinking that you're still in your 20s.
But then they think, it's a smaller, easier version of tennis, and then they forget that they're going to go.
Yeah, well, but your brain doesn't work like that. Like we talked about it on the way down to the podcast. We sort of reminisced about when we played football, and I talked about this idea of me trying to get back into football in my early 20s, but my body just not being able to do what my brain thought it could do. Yeah. And it's the same thing. As soon as you step on that court, you'll think you're 15 again.
Yeah.
So you just have to remember that, I think. But
so
sorry to hear about all those victims of paddle. Slong confirms my belief that exercise is the root of all evil, but we'll have to.
I need to do something. I can't be fat dad anymore. So, project self-care is a go from January 1st. I'll have a late gig on New Year's Eve, so yeah, I need to get that out of the way and then concentrate on me for a bit and wife.
Yeah. Good.
So
should we talk about football, man?
Let's fix some football. In fact, let's just talk about it. We've fixed a lot this year. People are listening. Listen, don't look at too far into that statement. We're responsible for a lot of the good that's in football these days.
Okay.
Let's start with Bolton Wanderers. Everyone's favourite topic.
Yeah.
Now, you've had a win today. Am I right? You were winning at one point.
Yes, 3-0 win at home against Lincoln City.
Right. Now, I'm just going to jump straight into it, and we'll get through a few clubs and stuff today. But is it papering over the cracks? Is it buying Ian Evatt a bit of time? You've been on record before about you wanting him to go. You've had a few stinker results recently. Is it just a matter of time? Is it going to be this season? Realistically, we know you probably want him to go, but do you see it happening?
Papering over the cracks. It's funny you bring that saying up, because I've seen a lot, and a lot of the talk at Bolton from the fans who almost, I think, nearly almost unanimously really want him to go. There's a few loud people on the internet saying that they want him to stay, but I think they're wind-up merchants, to be honest. I think everyone in their hearts that really cares want him to go. Is it papering over the cracks? Yeah, because the theme that has been there that we talked about even in the summer is still there, where we're losing against good teams and beating teams that we should beat, which I would put Lincoln in that bracket, with all due respect to any / unlikely any Lincoln fans that listen to this podcast. But however, one thing I will say that was a bit different about this game is that we have got quite a few of our more important players back from injury, particularly in defence, where we've been really short at the moment. So
who was back?
Owen Toll was back, right centre
back.
I
like him.
Yeah, 60 minutes he got today before he was taken off. Good minutes at the bank. George Johnston was back in the side at left centre back with Rico Santos in the middle. That three hasn't always been available over the last few weeks, where the form has dropped a little bit. So, and we've got Carlos Mendes Gomez back as well now. He came off the bench again. He's been out since, I think he's been out for 9-10 months since Wigan away.
Yeah.
Back end of last season. So a long time he's been out. So quite a few players back. So maybe there is the chance to go on a bit of a run.
Well, I was going to say, let's address the remainder of the season then. And for people who aren't fans of League One clubs, what's the layout of the land really, and how do you see it going, and your hopes for Bolton really?
Right, so
there's
it
a
looks
lot
like
there, but I want you to go.
At the top, there is 3 teams going for 2 places, I think. And I think Birmingham are going to be nailed on for getting one of them. I'd be shocked if anything else. I think they're currently in second, but Wickham are starting to falter, who have just been on this mad run. Wickham, beyond all expectations, they are up there. I think they're running out of steam a little bit now. So Birmingham are closing in, and I think they'll go clear, and they'll almost be untouchable for the rest of the season.
They should be, though, right, with the amount they spent.
Oh,
they should be.
Well, yeah, but fair enough. They are. So
yeah,
you've got the money to spend it. Fair enough. So there's Birmingham. And then you've got, at the moment, Wrexham and Wickham then fighting for that second place. Wrexham probably doing better than some people expected. Myself included, I thought they'd be strong. I didn't think they'd be this good. But fair enough. The bang up there. And after that, there's a few teams that will probably be in the mix for the playoffs, which I would put Bolton in alongside your Huddersfields. Potentially Barnsley are looking at that as well. There's a few teams that are in and around that. And that's kind of how the land lays a little bit, really, in terms of League One. I think automatics is beyond Bolton now. Aside going on a mad run, I can't see us doing that. So we're already looking at the playoffs, I think.
All right. Who has surprised you this season in League One?
Well, Wickham. Yeah, they've been brilliant. Really, really good.
What's the story though? Is there anything? Have they just put it together? Really? Is there anything standing out about them?
They're one of the strongest sides in League One. They're a recent Championship side, so they've got the parts in place to do it. But no, it's very much a surprise. Right. I think from a Bolton perspective, they've had Aaron Morley off us on loan, and he's done really well there. But we're calling him back, basically.
That's happening. He is coming back.
Yeah, he's definitely coming back. I believe there's some complications as to when he could come back, but I don't know what they are. But Bolton have basically said if you want him, you need to buy him. We're not letting him. We're essentially going to be potentially competing with him for playoff spots. So yeah, it was fun at first, but if you want him, you can buy him basically.
Fair enough.
Which I think is fair enough. He's Bolton's player, but I don't. There's a few Bolton plans that are clamouring for him to come back. He's had quite a lot of chances in a Bolton shirt, and it's not really worked out. He's not my kind of midfielder. I think he goes missing defensively, and I think he hides from the ball a little bit when we're under pressure, which when he plays at the almost what you would call the pivot position, I suppose, in the Premier League, is not good. And he's not mobile enough to receive the ball from centre-backs that are maybe under pressure. He doesn't create the angles, I don't think. But in more of a, not advanced role, but in a more role where the team isn't receiving the ball from the centre-backs, where he's maybe picking the ball up in midfield to maybe look for a long diagonal or a more advanced sort of type pass. He's been very effective in that position, I believe, for Wickham. So it'd be good for him, the move, but that's not really how football works.
I suppose he's always had a couple eye-catching goals in him as well, which has helped.
Yeah, he's a good player, and I think a lot of people look at that Charlton free kick that does the rounds
Yeah,
every once in a while, where he seems to be, because you don't see free kicks like that anymore from that far out. Teams don't tend to take that risk anymore. I think the statistics prove it's better to get in the box, so the Premier League stats just don't allow you to take that kind of risk in modern football. So it really does catch the eye. But yeah, I think that's going to be an interesting one to see how Wickham respond to that, whether they do put the money up for him, whether Bolton find another loan for him instead, or he comes back into Bolton's team, because at the moment we are missing Josh Sheehan, who we rely on in that position. So there is potential for there. I don't know. See how it plays out.
Lastly, it is the start of the January transfer window. So what do Bolton need?
We need to get the most out of our existing players, really. We've got a very good team that I think we're not getting the best out of.
Yeah, so there's no one you see like out there you think you could go and get who's going to get you up there?
I think if I was going to... There's a few positions that we need. We do need a stand-in when Josh Sheehan's injured in that pivot position. And I don't think Aaron Moore is it, for the reason I mentioned a minute ago. But Josh Sheehan's been injured and it's really hampered us. I think it's the complete reason for our dip in form is because he's so important to the way we play. I wouldn't go as far to call him Rodri, but it's a very similar type of player, like someone who's always available for the ball and makes us more defensive. So yeah, I think we need to get someone who can fill that position when Sheehan's not playing. I've got a feeling we might go big on a striker though, and I think it'll be Joe Taylor at Luton that we go big on. And I think we may look to shift out a couple of our strikers, Dion Charles and Victor Adebayo. I think we may look to move both of them out. I didn't see this happening maybe even 2-3 weeks ago, but I'm starting to think that Ian Evatt doesn't fancy Dion Charles anymore. Maybe finds him too wasteful in big games, and he's maybe going to look to bring in someone more youthful like Joe Taylor from Luton.
Maybe there's still some value in Charles as well.
Maybe. I was thinking about it today. I don't see the move for him, but we'll see. You never know, do you? You never know.
Yeah, a striker in January is always good for other competing clubs, or maybe lowly championship teams or whatever. I'm not sure.
Well, yeah, exactly, and he's got international pedigree as well. If you if you consider the period that he had at Northern Ireland, but yeah, I think Taylor is someone that we're going to be looking at. We've been linked with him quite a few times. So we'll definitely see really how that goes.
All right. Well, let's put a pin in Bolton Wanderers for a minute, and let's move up to the Premier League. And right, we don't have to focus on any one club in particular, but I was going to ask you if you wanted to talk about maybe players who've caught your eye in the first half of the season, clubs, anything going on, any big news stories that you thought were worth talking about for a bit.
We've not really touched on Man City, have we? Really?
Funnily enough, no. It's like we were saving it for something.
Yeah, like there might be some big news at the beginning of the year. So maybe we cover it all in one big episode, I imagine. But
we can.
I think just to touch on their form, like, do you think it's purely down to Rodri?
No, it is. Well, where do you start? First of all, a run like they have been on, and they've gone on one today away at Leicester. I don't see it being the big turn in form that some City fans might hope it to be. But yeah, this run that they've been on, 1 win in 13 before today, is just. I mean, people have said it's unprecedented, but it's weird. It went from a stumble to a blip to a crisis to absolute hysteria, and now it's just been weird. Now,
did you watch him in the game today?
I watched a bit of it. Yeah,
Sunday.
I watched a bit of it. Yeah, I didn't, and I don't see. I mean, they had De Bruyne and Fordham back in the starting lineup, which was, shock your best two players. Maybe start playing them a bit more. Maybe that works. But it's been weird. It's been weird for so many players to drop off all at once. I can't put my finger on why, what's going on. At any moment, all them players could turn it on, and they could go on a crazy run and do something in the league.
Do you think they've got that in them now?
It would be foolish of me to disregard what Pep can get out of a team and the players that they've got there. That being said, this run they've been on, not only has it cost them the league already, but yeah, and realistically, no, I don't see it happening. I'm just going off, previous and then not
You've
wanting
been
to
hurt
disregard.
before, haven't you?
Yeah, I have, but not wanting to disregard some of the best players we've seen in the Premier League era, just in terms of quality. So, yeah, it's on a bit of a knife edge, really. I think one more loss would just kill them off completely, and other teams would start smelling the blood in the water a little bit, and teams like Villa and Newcastle might think we might go and get above City here at this point.
I think we're at that point already. I think a result against Leicester, who have made quite possibly the worst managerial appointment they could have made, in my opinion. It very much stinks of Solskjaer at Cardiff, that madness appointment that they did when they came up with Neil Warnock.
It is a bit like that, yeah.
Yeah, it's nuts. Like it's an absolute disgrace of an appointment, and every Leicester fan seems to be for it. And I think it's just because they hated Cooper that much because he was there. And they'll tell you all these reasons about tactic, but it's nothing to do with that. It's because it's Forest. That's why they hated him. And they should never have gone there anyway, because football fans don't get over that kind of stuff. The petty.
Like Benitez at Everton.
Yeah. Or Chelsea. Like both of them are Benitez a point. Benitez was just too Liverpool. He couldn't work anywhere. Well, I'd say that he did well at Newcastle. Let's pull that.
Yeah, well, Newcastle's out of it, innit? They're their own enemy.
Yeah, exactly. He's too Liverpool, when he Benitez. And I think Cooper was too Forest for Leicester. But then they've gone and almost tried to essentially just go for a name. But he's not a managerial name. He's just a footballer name.
Yeah.
And, he can wear all the turtlenecks he wants. Like, he's not qualified for that job. And
he did all right at PSV for a bit.
Yeah, but that doesn't... being PSV manager is not being Leicester City promoted after one season of the Premier League with no room on FFP, and he has to get the most out of these players. It's an absolute car crasher of an appointment.
I agree, by the way. Yeah. So anyway, that was my thoughts on Man City. Don't want to write him off completely because they have so much quality. I just think what has been going on is weird. I think it stinks too much of other stuff going on now.
Well, Luke said that he felt that would be the key reason that they wouldn't be up there at the end of the year.
I mean, it's like Luke wrote this story, really. It's been played out almost exactly how he said. But
I think
I don't know. More than that to me.
I think that's playing a part, the 116 charges it is now.
130.
130, sorry, apologies. Yeah. So I do believe that's potentially like a cloud hanging over the place. I just think it's purely confidence. And I think once you smash, and particularly a club like City where they've never had to face this kind of, a lot of these players have never had this kind of like difficulty or this, the Premier League clubs like using the word suffer, don't they?
Yeah.
Never suffered like this before. And I think they just can't hack it. And I honestly think it's that simple. And I think that even goes down to Pep, like coming out with all these scratches on his head and looking like a, like absolutely exasperated and like literally dishevelled and like he hasn't slept. He looks like, that Nightmare Before Christmas, like the character in that. Like,
Jack Skellington.
He comes out like that, like just brittle, like. And I just think they just can't hack it. And that's not me just wanting to write Pep off, because obviously he's a genius and all that. It's true, but at the same time, if you were to pick a weakness of Pep, it would be his mental fragility, wouldn't it? You would,
yeah.
Which is not a nice thing to point at, by the way.
No.
But that, if you'd have asked me before this, and I've said it, I think on here about what I think Pep's biggest weakness is that he can get under his skin, and I think that's half the reason that he's got the record against Liverpool that he's got, because they get under his skin so much. But they'll probably be fine.
I think they'll buy in January as well.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine.
They've been really quiet in the last couple transfer windows for obvious reasons.
Why that is. Yeah.
But, charges aside, PSR is in their favour now. And they've got the backing and, all the money of God to go out and try and fix whatever's going on. And maybe a few new faces change that. I know they've been linked with Bruno from Newcastle, and they can go and get whoever they want, really. If they've got the money to spend, they can just go and cash out, and maybe that'll help them. Who else? What else has been going on? What players have impressed you in this first half of the season?
Oh,
Is there anyone who's caught your eye?
I think I've said it a few times in our group to laughing emojis from Scott, but Kulusevski I think has been amazing this season.
He's definitely been Tottenham's best player.
He looks brilliant. Like I think he looks really, really good, and he's bulks up as well. Like he's all stature and how he carries the ball. I think he just looks like a really good player all of a sudden. When Tottenham first signed him, I was a bit like, this is not what Tottenham needed. Like they didn't need another sort of quite lightweight winger type player, but every single season he's got better and better, and I think he is one of the best players in the league now, in a position that all the best players seem to play in, which is kind of like in that right central position, that sort of position. So, firstly, him. You can go next. Any that have caught you out while I think of others where you've caught me off guard with this question?
Dean Huijsen from Bournemouth.
Yes. Bournemouth
really
in general,
like
but yeah, he's good.
Bournemouth have been good. It's a bit of a shitty start, wasn't it? But after maybe the first couple of games, they've really turned it around. He is. And I saw his name mentioned a while ago because he was at Juventus and then he went on loan to Roma. And then Bournemouth picked him up. And he's still young. He's massive as well. He's like 6'4".
Yeah, he's like the biggest player in the world, isn't he?
He's quick. He's both-footed. Like I've seen, he's pinging balls with left and right foot. He scored a couple of times. Did he score against United the other week? I think he did.
He got the header, didn't he?
Yeah, maybe he's on 3 goals this season, something like that. Really like him. I see a big club coming for him very soon. He's impressed me. And also, what is the name of the free transfer at Nottingham Forest? The fullback, is it?
Aina.
Yes. However you want to say it.
Yeah.
He's been very good. I think if most people haven't got him in the fantasy team right now, they are kicking themselves because he was like 3.5 million at the start. Yes, he's been very good too.
Good shouts. There's so many, but
obviously Forest as well. Can't forget them.
Yeah, of course. The midfield three of Liverpool, all three of them, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, and Curtis Jones. All three of them are brilliant in different ways. Particularly Curtis Jones.
And McAllister's played a bit instead of Jones
as well.
He seems to be the fourth man of that three. In a bit like he can go and fill in most places. Gravenberch obviously been taking the headlines because from what people saw last season, no one saw this season coming in terms of performance, but he's been impressive. We'll get on to Liverpool in a minute. I want to talk about them a little bit deeper.
Yeah, so I think all 4 of those, I think you're right to include the fourth. Anyone else that we're missing? Any other players?
I mean, I don't want to be the one to mention Chris Wood because I feel like I'm just going to hang myself out to dry here for previous comments.
Yeah, the Mr. Big Stiff Idiot, I think you regard him as mine. Another goal today to the part of a 2-0 away win. That he got the opener, didn't he? I believe.
Did he? Oh, I've not. I'm ashamed to say I've not kept up with a lot of the scores today other than Liverpool and City's.
Well, I jumped on some Chelsea space to back Scott up as part of the podcast, and I convinced pretty much the entire Chelsea fan base that they should sign Chris Wood, and they almost unanimously agreed with it that he'd be perfect. And
that's a good idea.
Well, it is, because the reason for it is exactly why, is that he wouldn't mind being second fiddle. You'd have Nicholas Jackson as your number 1, and then as a second option, you have your Chris Wood, and it almost makes sense, doesn't it? Really. And the same would apply to Arsenal. Less so Man United, because that screams Igalo without them doing it. And they don't want to go down that road again. But yeah, really, really good player, doing really well. Good to see. Anyone else? So we obviously there's loads. We could do a team of the year so far, but I feel like that's just pushing the concept.
Yeah. Nah. I think someone on the podcast will be annoyed if we don't mention Chelsea because no one saw him being second in the league most of the first half of the season.
Well, at the time of recording, Nottingham Forest are second in the league.
Oh, are they?
And I predicted Nuno to be the first person to be sacked, I think.
I mean, it's half surprising with Chelsea because it all seemed so crazy and a bit of a mess at the start of the season. But the facts are they've spent £1.5 billion on this squad, and you like to think you throw enough shit at the wall, some of it's going to stick. So they're going to have stuff going on. They're more than likely not going to win the league, but they've put themselves in a great position.
Well, they're almost celebrating the loss. The amount of times I'd heard, this is why we weren't going to win the league. Within half an hour of that defeat, I'd heard that not only from Scott, he must have repeated it about 30 times in our group. Maresca came out and said it as well. Turn talked to one, and Rory Jennings must have got it out about 30 times. This is why we won the league. This is why we won the league. This is why we won the league. Because they're absolutely scared to death of that being the expectation of them.
Well, in fairness to me and not anyone who's a Chelsea fan, they have never won the league in a race, a title race with someone. Whenever they've won the league, it has been they've blown everyone out of the water and gone and won it early, and they've by far and away been the best team that year. But they've not had to battle it out for the title anytime.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've talked about that before. I don't know that as a fact, but I feel like someone said it to me before, so I'll go with it.
That's enough. That's enough to claim it as a fact, and that's the general feeling. So, yeah, it ain't for them this year, but they've surprised everyone. So fair play to them. And they have the best player in the league.
You don't need to try and win anything if you're in a 5-year plan, do you? That's how it works now. We're ahead of the plan, right? Okay. At some point, you're gonna try and win the league. No, just a new plan now. So.
Speaking of plans, let's go talk about the greatest team in the land, the Arsenal.
Okay, I mean, I'll not challenge it, but for the record, I could have challenged that statement and
could have.
But but I'm gonna let it go because it's just me here.
It's Christmas.
Yeah.
What do we need? We need an attacker in January.
Yes. What do you need? The same thing you've needed for nearly 2 years.
Well, now is the time. We've seen Saka get injured, and it looks like it's a bad one. I don't think we'll see him again this season. They're saying 2 months. I think it's going to be a while.
There's a lot of rumours it's a rupture, isn't there? A complete hamstring rupture.
Well, a rupture would be a grade 2 tear.
While we're talking about it,
sometimes requires surgery.
I will ask this question, which you're not going to like. Has he been overplayed?
Yeah. He has, yeah. But that's maybe taking a more modern look at it. The facts are that his minutes line up with the best in the world, and that's where he wants to be, and that's where we want him to be at. So you can't blame anyone for playing him as much as he has done. But it also sometimes requires a bit of strength to say, maybe we don't need you. And this is where City have been good. They've obviously had the depth, which we don't. We don't have anyone close to Saka who can fill in on the right. Or anywhere in our team. In my opinion, he's our best player. So
do you think, and again, this isn't meant to be a difficult question, but it's like, if you look at City, they don't have the same pressure to win other cups as you do. So they can really rotate. Whereas something that always when I sticks out with Saka in my mind was that he started in your game against us this season.
Yeah.
And I cannot get my head around that.
No, you're right.
We rested players in that game.
And we did, but he wasn't one of them. So, no, I mean, I agree with the statement that he was overplayed, that he has probably been used too much.
Okay. I think we can leave it there. I think we don't need to ram the point home. I think everyone in the world will agree with that.
It's shit and unlucky for us that he's injured because he's been great, and if we are going to go and win the title, it's going to be for the most part without him.
Do you think? What do you think you'll do instead? Do you think you'll go out and buy a direct black flight, or do you think you'll look to play Jesus out there and maybe bring in Jesus' replacement early? Maybe
that would be my preference.
Maybe how I would manage it.
That would be my preference. Yeah. because why do I think that? You're keeping Jesus happy. I mean, it's starting to come into form, which is about long overdue. But we need a striker. We need someone up there. I just think we should go all out for Isak. I just think he's perfect. And if it costs us 100 million, it's what it's going to take to win us the league. And I think it does do that. But you want to do it now. And realistically, it's going to be the end of January when that happens.
Well, yeah, I think Newcastle seem to be... There's a lot of noise coming to Newcastle about it not happening, which suggests to me that you've asked a question. Because the amount of noise Newcastle are making about it, it needs to be 150 million, but I'd be shocked if Isak didn't make noises of wanting to leave if you made that serious.
Exactly, yeah. Me too. So that's where we're at with Arsenal. Otherwise, I'm still all right. Nothing to worry about just yet. We're still in the race. We'll be in it right till the end. That's where we're at. Let's have a 5-minute break, and then I want to talk to you about Liverpool.
Can we do a bit of Manchester United as well?
Go on then. And we're back. Right, Liam.
Martyn.
I want to talk to you about Liverpool, but you mentioned Manchester United, and I won't keep you waiting. We've seen Ruben Amorim come in and replace Ten Hag, much to a lot of people's joy, let's say, at this time of year. But he has had maybe the worst start of any Manchester United manager ever. That may be factual, I'm not 100% sure, but it feels like it is. But a lot of Man United fans are still happy about it. I was speaking to one of our listeners yesterday, actually. Shout out Rick. He's a big fan of yours as well, Liam.
Really?
He thinks you're funny. Yeah, he clearly doesn't know you like I know you. But he enjoys your insight, so...
Oh, that's good. Thanks, Rick. That's nice. Always nice to hear nice things. Doesn't come often for me, so that's nice. Thank you, Rick.
Listen, Man United. I think fans want to get behind the manager more than ever this time. Let him build Man United in his vision is sort of what I'm hearing for the most part. Sell them all. They don't have no attachments to any of these players anymore, especially what's happened with Rashford over the last couple of weeks. And yeah, let Man United become Ruben Amorim's Man United fully, which is sort of what they didn't do with Ten Hag. They tried to allow it with Ten Hag, but there's so much going on in the back.
I think Ten Hag didn't have the stones to see it through, did he? He didn't.
Yeah,
he was scared to death of how bad they were, I think. Whereas Amorim seems to be quite dismissive of it, like it's not the end of the world how bad they are now.
But very content with the results as well, which is where they needed to be at. They needed to be in a place where they are content with losing is pretty strong, but they need to know and accept at what point of the project they're in, and they're on page 1. Like, this is going to suck.
I think what they're looking for, Luke won't like this, and I don't know if Rick will like it, because I don't know him, but I suppose what they're actually looking for is an Arteta-type transformation, isn't it?
It's like someone's created a model and allowing other people to go and use that model. It's there for everyone to see.
I don't think Arteta was fuss of it. I think Brendan Rodgers did it at Liverpool as well. I think Brendan Rodgers turned Liverpool into a team that was finishing between 6th and 10th every year into one that was competing.
But what came along with Arteta was a top-to-bottom approach from chairman becoming more involved, following all the shite for the Super League stuff. It was like a perfect storm of the chairman becoming more involved. It went from Stan Kroenke to Josh Kroenke taking more involvement. the level of board behind Arteta, which was fronted by Edu, but there was a lot of people in and around Edu's team. Then Arteta, all sharing the same vision, all in the same boat. And this is what they're trying to sort of get at Man United. That would be the model.
Well, they need...
which is what I don't think Brendan Rodgers... While Brendan Rodgers did great things on the pitch for Liverpool in that turnaround, there was still a lot of shit going on behind him, weren't there?
Yeah, of course there was. The Liverpool were run fantastically well at that point.
Yeah.
That was the old Edwards-Graham sort of period.
Yes, yeah.
In full flow. But I think people get obsessed too much with a manager at times. A lot of these turnarounds are built on brilliant players, I think. So we'll take Rodgers first. Suarez. Suarez was one of the best players we've seen in the Premier League. And then Klopp had Salah doing very similar things.
Yep.
And I think Arsenal's is Odegaard, where it's essentially without him, are you a title contender? I don't think you are. And that's not me being like, I'm not having a go, because I think that you have him. Like, he plays for you, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But I think they tend to be built around these players, these transformations.
That's a point. But I will say that when Arteta came in, he had to deal with Ozil on a massive contract who weren't playing.
Yeah.
He had to deal with Aubameyang, who won us the FA Cup in that first 6 months, but then barely scored for the next 8-9 months, and then had to get him out the door as well. Went from being captain to being dropped for the North London derby.
There was a few, weren't there? Because Lacazette was similar. And
yeah, Lacazette was a bit more of a team.
Was it Guendouzi similar? He fell out with Guendouzi, didn't he?
Guendouzi was a big one, attitude. You had Mustafi, Kolasinac, Socrates. Just so much dead weight and massive wages and big personalities as well that he had to deal with. Now, perfect storm, he got rid of them. And who does he have coming through? Emil Smith-Rowe and Bukayo Saka, who stepped up in that year, who put the club on the shoulders and give the fans hope that was page 2 of the project, that we were there. And I was saying this yesterday, but I think that's what United needs, something of that, where that might be impossible to recreate, but that's how. Because
at United as well, it just seems to be that even the good news stories are bad news ones all of a sudden. Like Garnacho seems to be now, like, what's happened there? Like, that was a player that they were putting forward as unanimously amongst the fan base. He's the next big thing, and now all of a sudden he can go like the rest. And all that, I don't understand what he's done any differently, Garnacho. Like what?
Yeah.
Because I just see the same player. No, I mean, I don't know. I don't watch him. I watch him a lot. I'm not going to lie, but I don't see anything different. Maybe I'm not as close to it as they are.
I will say that someone like Garnacho and Rashford, to an extent, the wingers in a 4-3-3 that we see in most Premier League sides don't work in a 3-4-3 in the same.
No, because they're not. They need to handle the inside space much better.
Exactly. So that position and that profile of player might just not be what Amorim needs around the place anyway. And if they've got a chip on the shoulder or they've got big wages or whatever, that will be the one. And maybe Rashford and Garnacho are the ones to bite the bullet and take the hit of being.
That's what Arteta wanted to do with Odegaard and Havertz, isn't it? He wanted them to be both of that, but it's not really worked out, has it?
Yeah, we'll do that another day. Yeah. Don't worry about Havertz.
Fair enough.
Well, anyway, Ruben Amorim's Manchester United. I mean, what's your verdict on the situation as a whole?
It's not been a great start, but I think you almost summed it up well in the question. It's judge it in 18 months, 2 years time. But at the moment, it's very, very funny.
It is funny, but also
he's also a bit weird, isn't he?
Amorim.
Yeah.
I like him so far. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt so far. He's different. What I will say is that every day there seems to be another set of bullshit coming out of Sir Jim Ratcliffe, where he's cutting costs and kicking the little guy around the club whilst not doing anything.
He punches downwards, doesn't he? It's always it's always on that end. Was it like Steward of the Week or something like that? They cut
Steward of the Week
bonus or something.
Got £100 bonus. So out of 150 odd stewards, did they probably have a match? Maybe more. They one of them got an extra £100 every week. And whilst they were raising ticket prices to a record high in the Premier League, they scrapped that.
Fair enough. I mean, look, whatever. We're not the Price of Football podcast, so I'm not going to get too much into the numbers of it. But he's not one of the friends that people expected of him.
No, not at all.
Ineos.
It would worry me. Something stinks about the Ineos stuff right now.
Well, yeah, because if you've only viewings, I'm not going down that road. But yeah, I don't like him either.
Okay. Well, we'll get some more Manchester United insight soon, I think. But
from our Man United expert when he's back.
Yeah. In brackets. Let's swivel a little bit to the top of the league. Liam, can anybody stop Liverpool? No,
in a word. I don't think anyone's good enough to maintain the form it would need to be completely honest. They may drop points. I'm not saying they're unbeatable.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see anyone beating them at the moment, to be honest. But they're probably not unbeatable. But I think only you could theoretically catch them. And I don't think your form's going to be anywhere near good enough to surpass that gap that's already there. So I can't see it. You could do. I could be wrong. It would only be you. But I don't see you doing it.
I hate to agree with you, mate. The timing's got to be so perfect where, they maybe lose and draw in a week and we win. And everything gets really bunched up and there's a real big shift in momentum. That's the only way I see it happening.
The re-emergence they've had of Van Dijk being almost the Van Dijk that we knew before, and maybe that's to do with Slot. We'll talk about him in a minute, but I just don't see teams scoring enough goals to match out Salah's output either, because he's guaranteed a goal or assist a game. He's averaging more than a goal assist a game, so you're going to concede. And then can you get past Van Dijk? I just don't see it.
He's a special footballer, Salah, isn't he?
Well, not according to Scott. He's quite plucky.
Don't worry about the group's opinion.
Well, I don't, but I just can't get my head around that one. Yeah, he's a great at the game. He is. He's just not as pretty on the eye as others, because he scuttles, doesn't he? He doesn't like glide like
scuttles
like an Eden Hazard does, But in terms of his consistent, and you look at him now, like I don't know if you watched the Liverpool game from today, but his first assist, it takes a little bit of a deflection before it lands at Diaz's foot. But that's outrageous how easy he makes that look.
Yeah.
And Mavropanos making it look like the Mavropanos at Arsenal. And, well, actually, the Mavropanos at West Ham hasn't been great either. But, yeah, he's just an outrageously good footballer.
So, everything about Liverpool is good. I think we knew that their defence was okay. We didn't expect Van Dijk to have the turn-up in form that he's had, but it was always still there. The attack was plentiful. Let's imagine we're at the start of the season now. We knew they had the attack, we knew they had a decent defence, and everyone thought that their midfield would be the downfall, and that we mentioned it in the first half, but that seems to have gelled itself together as well.
Yeah, outrageously so. I think from an attack point of view, the one thing they would probably prefer is Jota to be more available. But
yeah, for sure.
They're struggling with that, I think, a little bit, but it's a small problem when everyone else is on form.
Slot seems to have seen the real Darwin Núñez. He seems to be fifth choice in that list of players that they put out.
Yeah, but even when he plays, he brings something to the table. That's the thing with Darwin Núñez. He does bring output. Like, it's not like he's up there doing nothing. Even when he's not maybe scoring or assisting, the way he presses, the way the runs that he makes, he does allow them to play through other players. He's quite he's not a useless player. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's not been a bargain at 80-odd million or whatever he was, but
no,
he's not useless by any stretch of the imagination.
So you mentioned the way they play. Then let's talk about that for a minute. What have you seen differently from this and Slot side?
I don't think I'm saying anything differently than anyone else has said, but they do seem more content in maintaining possession. It doesn't all have to be 100 miles an hour. They're happy to sort of manage the game a little bit better. Maybe keep the ball a little bit more. Allow Trent Alexander-Arnold to have more time on the ball without necessarily having to make things happen there and then. He seems to be always on the ball. And because he seems to be more based on that right-hand side, it seems to allow Salah to move around a little bit more. So they're not too different, but they are a little slower. But I don't think that's teaching anything to anyone who's watched them. I think that's pretty obvious. I don't know if you've noticed anything different than what I've noticed.
I'm surprised at how much through the middle they play, with their strengths being out wide in Trent, Salah, Diaz or Jota, whoever's out on the left. Even Gakpo has been good. Usually Andy Robertson, but Tsimikas has come in and done okay. Whoever else has gone out at left back. Conor Bradley's been out there, I think, a few times. But they have gone through the middle. Now, whether that's down to a new confidence in Gravenberch and Curtis Jones, Szoboszlai as well, they're controlling games. They're pressing. They're really high most of the game, and that's been the bit that surprised me, that they haven't defaulted to getting it out wide as quick as they can, which is what they usually do. Well, the ball, like you right to point out about Trent having so much of the ball, it's like every time they have the ball, it's either starts or he's really involved.
Yeah, because I would say previous versions, and I think England have started to do this as well when they're playing him at right back, is they get the ball to him and his first instinct maybe in previous seasons was to head up and who's running?
Yeah.
Jota, Diaz, Salah, who's running? He's not doing that anymore. He's going straight back into the middle for Gravenberch and he's moving up the pitch.
Yeah, it's like he joins the midfield with his first ball. Yeah,
rather than being like a quarterback sort of type thing. He almost takes up like a right centre midfield position where he can easily drop back into right back out of possession.
Well, that's like the perfect inversion of the right back. That's what Zinchenko did really well in his first season with us, and where this, the popularity sort of grew with inverting your fullbacks. I know Pep did it first, or whoever did it first.
Fabian Delph was the one I always remembered.
Yeah.
He was at left back for a full season. He was doing it all that year.
But not in that carrying the ball and becoming an extra midfielder at the start of the attack. It's not just the body in there as well. He's part of it, which is, it's an interesting look.
Yeah, of course it is.
So, the negatives of this Liverpool side, where do the wheels fall off? And we've got to start at the three major talking points around contracts. And, this is going out New Year's Eve. Tomorrow, there'll be potentially news coming out about who's going where.
Yeah, let's start with the one that seems to be potentially most likely to involve someone leaving. I think that's Trent Alexander-Arnold. Oh,
I was going to say, let's talk about staying and going. We've got Virgil van Dijk, Mo Salah, and Trent all going into the last 6 months of their contract. Virgil van Dijk is 34, I think.
I thought it was 30. Is he not 32?
You can verify these numbers now while I'm going to say them out loud.
Okay.
Mo Salah is 33. Trent is 27. Now, Trent is in his best years. So it would, stats and stuff would tell you that he might be the one who you would focus on keeping around. However, as you rightly said, he looks the most likely to leave at this point.
Yeah, well, we'll start with Trent Alexander-Arnold. And Van Dijk's 33, split the difference. We'll start with Trent Alexander-Arnold. I can see that happening, him leaving, to be completely honest. Yeah. I think if he was staying, he would have signed by now. And I don't think it's been a case of him trying to maximise the best contract. I think he just wants to go to Real Madrid. And you can start looking at what I think are the more softer reasons. Like, he's obviously seems to be quite close with Jude Bellingham.
Yeah.
I think that's only part of it. I think he's already achieved everything he can at Liverpool. And he's young enough to go and have possibly the greatest thing that you can do in football, which is go and win silverware at Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Now, I've seen quite talked about whether, I think Jamie Carragher said it will affect his legacy at Liverpool, but it seems to be you're not allowed to leave Liverpool under any circumstances. Like,
if you're a Scouser.
Yeah, you're a bad person, basically, if you leave Liverpool under any circ. And I just think he's achieved everything. And he'll probably win the league this year. What's left to go and get? They could easily win the quadruple. No, sorry. They could win the quadruple this year, Liverpool. What's left for him to really achieve at Liverpool?
No, I fully understand that train of thought. I don't... if Carragher is right with the way he's talking, that, you know, he's going to be looked at a bit like Michael Owen and Steve McManaman. Well, they went elsewhere and won big trophies. So, like, what?
It's good in a Champions League final, McManaman.
Yeah. You're right. And you know what? Owen won a Ballon d'Or, but Owen and McManaman didn't achieve half of what Trent has won for Liverpool. They achieved far less for Liverpool than what Trent has.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. So I think it's just one of those things. I think it's just, in an ideal world, did have got something for him, but
that's the thing. The argument about it is he should sign a contract and then he'll have our blessing to go next year. Like he owes the club a big transfer fee.
No, he's probably not been on the wages he could have got by leaving. That's the thing. When you're a homegrown player, you're generally not on the same kind of wages. This is something McTominay talks about quite a bit since he's left, hasn't he? That his whole stature at Napoli is much higher because he's not an academy graduate. He's a marquee signing for them. So
Gary Neville spoke about this in United as well, that they knew that they all went in, most of them, without agents. You know, they were still happy and they wanted to play for Man United. Like, fair enough, they're the best club as well, but they probably got taken advantage of a little bit in a wage point of view.
100%. But, so yeah, and for me, good luck to him, and I think it'll only do England good stead as well. Him playing at the absolute highest level. But even then, you know, he's played in 2 finals for England now. So he's doing all right on that front as well.
Yeah.
It's not a bad career he's having.
It's bizarre that Liverpool fans would turn on him.
Yeah. He was in a world team of the year at right back. He's already at 27 had a very distinguished career.
If he didn't have a Champions League medal and a Premier League medal and an FA Cup and God knows whatever else he's earned at Liverpool, maybe they would, you know, them criticisms would be a little bit fairer. I still don't think it should be down to the fans. And God, you can remember what sort of stuff was going on with Gerrard when he tried to leave. It was like,
yeah, I think it's just. I mean, Gerrard had a different stature than Trent Alexander-Arnold has. I think.
He was captain, wasn't he? And
he's
everything
captain,
else.
centre midfielder. Playing in a much weaker team. But I think they'll miss him, though, big time.
100%.
But they'll probably adapt, and they probably have somebody already in mind. But who knows? So I think that's the main one. Should we move on to others now? Who do you want to go with next?
Well, so the next 2, we've got Virgil van Dijk and Mo Salah. Would you agree that Van Dijk, of the 3 of them, is the most likely to stay?
Yes, I think it's the easier contract to sort out.
Yeah. You would be foolish to not put in some form of protection against yourself from a wage point of view because of his injury record in previous years. It seems to be on top of them now, but he's only getting older.
Yeah. So I think he's the most likely to stay.
No,
I think that's pretty straightforward.
And that's fair.
Although it's not been done yet, so maybe it's not straightforward. Maybe I'm playing it down, but he hasn't signed anything yet. But that seems to be the easier one. Let's
be real as well. He has earned that contract this year. Now maybe they're looking at length and stuff. Maybe that's the next bit is that part of the contract. But he's definitely earned a new contract and still plays like he's well warranted one.
Potentially, yeah. I think of the 3, it sounds mad to say, but as a centre back, is he the easiest to replace? I know there's not many centre backs of his quality around, but he's still a centre back, isn't he?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
100% he's the easiest to replace. Yeah, you're right.
Because if you look at
Trent,
because City have won leagues with
yeah.
John Stones and Ruben Diaz and with people I don't think are generational centre backs like Van Dijk is. So
Otamendi.
Yeah, exactly. So you, as much as he is absolutely brilliant, and I think he is in conversations for best ever Premier League centre backs. I do. I'm probably the one that bangs that drum the most, I would say, in our group about that. But he's still a centre back.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Maybe that's a conversation that's going on as well.
a centre-back in his 30s.
Very true. Good point. We'll put that in the against pile. So, the other one, probably been the most vocal he's ever been during his time at Liverpool, has been this season. Salah, with no contract on the table, it seems, although things have changed in the last couple of weeks. Apparently, if certain stories are led to believe, is Mo Salah, the great Egyptian king. Like, him and his goals and his influence on this team are priceless. I don't know who Liverpool go out and replace him with. Gakpo, Diaz, Jota, they are much of a same. Them three, you could put they all have different qualities. They all do different things, but they're at a certain level, and Salah is the elite of the elite in terms of goal scoring across Europe and world football. So, what's going on here? What do you see happening here?
He's unreplaceable. I think the best example of it is Chelsea with Eden Hazard. Go back to Hazard again. I think that was a massive gap in their team for years that they tried to fill. And we always make a joke of these wide attackers that Chelsea signed. It's because they were looking for that. They were chasing the Eden Hazard dragon for years. I still don't think they've got it, even though Cole Palmer's brilliant. I still think he's not quite yet Eden Hazard. So I think
Hazard was more. He's more than a winger. There's a thing that comes with these sort of players, isn't it? That they're a 10, they're a striker. They drop deep. They make things happen. They get on the end of things. They make something out of nothing. And this is what Salah is. This is what he's done. He's done for 6-7 years, however long it's been. It's been so consistent. It's fucking scary and annoying. I'm so pissed off that it started in my fantasy team.
Yeah, it's a bit embarrassing where you are in the fantasy league for the podcast. But in terms of back to the question is, simplified, it sounds like he wants 3 years, Liverpool want 2. Because the science and the numbers say that 2's better than 3.
Yeah.
I would ignore those numbers. Because
are you giving him what he wants?
Well, yeah, because I think with him in there, you're guaranteed to be in the Champions League, so it pays for itself.
That's true. If we're looking at it from that point, he looks fitter than ever. Everyone said that at the start of the season. He looks fitter and sharper than ever.
Yeah, if they win the Champions League in the next 2 years, they will qualify for the next Club World Cup, which is arguably worth 50-odd million to you. So, are they going to win it without him? Nope.
No.
You just
can they replace him? They can't replace him, can they? There's no one out there now you see.
Who's the nearest like for him in the Premier League? Should we say? Let's say I mentioned Kulusevski earlier, who could, right? And I'm not saying Kulusevski's anywhere near that level. No. But how much would it cost you to go and get him off Spurs?
You look what 60, 70, 60, probably,
and nowhere near as good. Probably more than that, I think, man. Probably more than that. I think Spurs would want for Kulusevski. I think you'd be looking at nearly 90.
Well,
at the moment, and he's nowhere near as good. Good player.
I agree.
As I said at the start, really good player, but nowhere near as good. So that's 90 million for someone not as good. Or a new contract for the one that you've already got. And maybe you take a risk on that 3rd year. But for me, sometimes you have to think more with your heart than your head. You don't always look at the numbers.
You think they were hoping? Do you think Liverpool board are hoping that Saudi come in? Or would come in big again?
I think they'd resist it now. I think they'd resist. Because that's another great question, right? Because what was it? A year ago or a year and a half ago, they turned down 150 million for him.
200 million.
So, and that's a year and a half ago. So, if they don't want to give him a 3rd year now, why not just sell him for 200 million a year and a half ago?
Yeah.
Just bite the bullet. And maybe in 2 years they do come in. Maybe you put a release clause in there, 50 million Saudi release clause, knowing full well what he will get for them at that point. Who knows? I don't think he wants that move yet, but he might want it then, because he might get about $1 billion a week or whatever it is. But we'll see. They should absolutely do it, and I think they will. I think it'll be sold as 2 years with a year option, but it'll be very very weighted towards Salah getting that third year, but Liverpool being able to sell it as they got it the way they wanted to.
He's
I
so
think that's
consistent.
how it'll play out.
Yeah, you'd have to be some ridiculous clause in there for someone of his consistency to not get that that extra year.
Well, that's it. Yeah, I think it'll say it as 2 years with a year option, and I think it'll be whether he wants to do the third year or not. It'll literally be that thing.
That also
Liverpool
gives you
can sell
time.
it as a 2 year.
It gives you time to go and get that young replacement for him. Go and find that. No, but go and find that 18, 19-year-old now from somewhere who is out there, who is, potentially the one to fill a 36, 37-year-old Salah's boots rather than this one now. You ain't going to do that.
No.
Yeah. They've been annoying, Liverpool. They've been fantastic. Can't lie. Can't hate on them too much.
Well, you can hate on them. You can do that.
No, Liam, I'm being impartial and fair. This is a new year. We're 2025 now. I'm being chilled. They're annoying me because I'm an Arsenal fan and I don't want them to win anything. I want them to fail. I want my friends to suffer, and I enjoy it when they lose. But it ain't happening because they are fantastic. Salah is brilliant. Curtis Jones, who I really love, has been brilliant. Yeah, there's not much to not like about Liverpool at the moment. Even Slot is quite likable, which is even fucking well annoying.
Give it time.
Yeah, they all go weird. So, Liverpool winning the league?
Yeah, I think so. I'd be shocked if they didn't. But we'll
Shocked.
see. Hopefully, yeah, shocked. What do they know? 8 points clear of a game in hand. That's a pretty handy lead for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd be shocked if they didn't win it. But hopefully it's a little bit closer because at the moment it looks like they're just starting to pull away and it's looking a little bit like that COVID season.
I think it will be closer. It will be closer than what it is now.
Yeah, we'll see. I hope so, because
unfortunately,
it's not really that interesting, that part of the thing. It's a weird Premier League this season.
It is weird. I do.
I think that's for another day, I think, that conversation.
The weirdness of the Premier League.
This season.
Right. All right, well, let's leave it there. Hopefully Liverpool don't win the league and one side of the podcast can be happy at least.
There we go.
Thank you everyone for listening. Please do get in touch. Let us know what you think about Liverpool. You can find all the information to do that at our website, which is www.fixingfootballpodcast.com, and you can find links to previous episodes, the next ones, and this one, because it was cool. Liam, happy 2025.
Happy
all
2025 to you, Martyn, and all our listeners, especially Rick. Happy 2025.
And congratulations again, David. Thank you, and we will see you all on the next one. Bye.
Goodbye.